They've had 11 weeks to get something done, but instead, Idaho lawmakers are trying to push through a property tax bill, or we're trying to push through a property tax bill here at the 11th hour. So we've got some breaking news when it comes to this, because Joe Paris has been following this closely when it comes to property tax and what's happening at the State House. So where do we stand? Will we see some property tax relief?
Well, just in the last few minutes, Brian, we found the answer is yes. The Idahoans will be getting property tax, and it's something that they've talked about really all session long. As we've established, the lawmakers, they didn't need to pass property tax in order to adjourn, but Idaho Democrats and Republicans, they told me early today that it's something that they both want to do. They say doing nothing on property tax in the face of major attention on the topic was never really an option.
Politically, I mean, and just personally, I just heard from so many people, seniors who are being priced out of their homes. I mean, personally, I would not feel comfortable leaving the building to my, in terms of facing my constituents unless we did something really serious on property taxes.
I hope we find a solution. We'll see what happens with the Senate and the veto override. They'll have a vote on that, I hope today or tomorrow. Once they have that vote, you'll know if we've got it solved or if we've got to try to do another bill. So we have to wait and see what happens in the Senate with the veto override.
So the Senate veto override holds a lot of power right now, and if you missed it, the House and Senate, they both passed property tax legislation by a large margin. Governor Little saw issues with it. The Idaho House addressed those with the trailer bill, and then they voted to override the governor's veto.
Makes it a lot simpler, gets us out of here a lot faster. We'll have to do a couple trailer bills to fix a couple issues that were concerns of the governor's. There's one trailer bill following to address his concerns because he brought up some good points. We want to be sure to address those. And I think you could actually end up with more property tax relief, because if that bill passes, you've got the school facilities fund. And there's still a little money sitting around here we could stuff in there, which would help give more property tax relief. So it gives us some options if it gets overridden.
So now we're kind of back to ground zero, where we're either going to end up with a dangerous property tax bill that I think is going to give rise to serious problems, or we could be here for a very long time while they hammer it out.
Okay, well, they hammered it out, and just a short time ago, as we were getting on the air, the Idaho Senate, they approved an override to Governor Little's veto on House Bill 292. That's the controversial property tax relief package, and we can actually take a look right now at the Idaho Senate. You can see that's the Lieutenant Governor Scott Bedke presiding over the Senate as they are working late into the evening, but we do now know that 292, the property tax package, that will become law, and we will get reaction and what this means in the coming days. But we do know that the governor's office, I actually just spoke with them a few minutes ago. They tell me that they were pushing for meaningful property tax relief and that they saw some issues with the original bill 292. But now that the legislature, the House and the Senate, has addressed the issues that the governor saw, that they're good with the override veto, so to speak. The governor calling it meaningful property tax relief. His office telling me that it's not the full amount they were hoping to get, but it's very close to that. So that basically is a check mark on the governor's I guess his agenda for the year. But there's still a lot going down at the State House right now, and the question is this chaos at the end of the session to get major legislation done, or is this weeks of work coming to fruition? As you can imagine, it depends who you ask down there.
For months, we were just sitting here going on and on about banning books and going after librarians and going after trans kids and banning drag shows and all of this social issue nonsense that is not going to help people pay their bills or help their kids get a better education. And we kept pushing and pushing to give proper time and energy and focus to real bread and butter issues. Unfortunately, those were all left to the very last minute.
If you watch what happened this year on the property tax, the House introduced those bills early. And 292 is just a combination of a whole bunch of people's ideas. And so I think that, the public gets frustrated, and I don't blame them because we all want it done now. But sometimes these issues is it soup yet, I guess is the saying I like to say. Have we got to the point where it's ready to eat? Has it cooked long enough, stewed long enough, simmered long enough, whatever? Is it to the point that it's ready to go? And that's what you deal with property taxes, especially since they're so dadgum confusing.
So the property tax meal is ready to digest, Brian, and we'll find out if the people of Idaho end up liking it or not. Real quickly, I just want to say, as they are trying to wrap up, we did just learn they are introducing one more item tomorrow on sexual exhibitions. That'll be heard at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. So as lawmakers are wrapping up, we are seeing some new things still introduced tomorrow.
That have to do with morality going through tomorrow. All right. Thanks, Joe.